Chief Brooks, would you lead us, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you remain standing for a moment, please. Heavenly Father, as we start this new year of 2019, Lord, we ask for your divine intervention, that you help us all with our decisions, that you help us take into consideration our residents' wants and needs, our community's growth overall, so that we may continue to be a city that puts you, O Lord, first, along with our country, our families, and our community. We ask for this and your blessings tonight, and we ask for all of this in your holy name. Amen. All right, very good. Okay, Kathy, roll call, please.
Carter,
Here.
Walther,
Here.
Howe,
Here.
Barstow,
Here.
Hayes,
Here.
Picken,
Here.
Lee,
Here. Okay, we have a quorum present. First thing on the agenda is citizens' comments. Does anybody wish to speak tonight? Seeing one. Good evening, sir. Your name and address, please, and you have 5 minutes.
Kathy, my name is Rob Platt and I reside at 371 Woodside Drive here in the city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. I have 2 issues for you this evening. First, I just want to get something on the record and make something clear that has bothered me since it was issued. And I will not go into detail, but you all are all aware that recently there was, at best, or at least I'll say, a insinuation that the BZA and or its members in its decisions or actions have at some point demonstrated racism and or discrimination based on ethnic origin. I will say that that is outrageous, completely untrue. But for myself, I would say that I'm comfortable in saying that for the other members of the BZA. I believe that the BZA in 2018 made a lot of great strides and did a lot of great things and always upheld the zoning of the city and represented the city well. There's been a claim to go on that our decisions have the scent of ethnic and racial prejudice. Not going to say a whole lot more other than, again, on a personal note, well, for a public note, it's extremely offensive to a 5-member board that serves the city that you all have appointed and that does so with a lot of pride and effort. And me personally, it's extremely offensive. Some of you know, maybe all of you know, my wife and I have adopted 2 children from the People's Republic of China in the last 3 years. So to make any kind of claim that I am a person that has any kind of discrimination in me against people of ethnic origin is outrageous, ridiculous, and simply not true. And I would simply ask that the city consider that, consider those who serve you in any decisions that you make moving forward, and be aware that we also serve you with honor. The other, that being said, the other issue I need to bring to your attention, I'll go ahead and hand this out. You are now president. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Actually, Kathy has a scan, I need that to read it. But I'll give it back.
that's okay.
I provided Kathy a scan just shortly a time ago. So I've submitted a letter. I'll just read it quickly here. I don't think it'll take the rest of my time. Dear Mayor and Council members, it is with great regret that I must inform you of my need to resign as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals as part of my ongoing efforts to continue my education. I will be taking evening classes as part of a program that only offers classes on Tuesday nights. As you are aware, the BZA meets on the 2nd Tuesday of the month, therefore I would not be able to attend the meetings. I do enjoy serving the city and would continue to do so, but simply the schedules won't allow it. I didn't have a choice. That's just how the school program is. It's every Tuesday, and I'll be doing it for the next 3 years to get a bachelor's degree. So the opportunity presented itself to me, and I certainly need to pursue it. That being said, my resignation will be effective on February 11th. The next meeting of the BZA is on February 12th. I did not want to leave the city hanging or at any kind of disadvantage with a 4-member board and somebody not be able to make it or something that way. So I am willing to serve, and I'm able to do so because the next BZA meeting is tomorrow night, the 8th, and my classes won't start until the 15th of this month. So I can, I'll go on to read here. I plan to serve at the January 8th meeting, and we'll also try to be available should any special meetings need to be held through February 11th. By giving you this notice tonight, it is my hope that the month until February 12th meeting will give you sufficient time to find a replacement. Thank you for the opportunity to serve, and I would request consideration of future appointments to serve the city should the opportunity arise. And I would just again reiterate, I truly love serving the city. I think the BZA has done a great job. I served as chair in 2018 and thoroughly enjoyed it. And I believe strongly in the boards and committees that serve you and serve the residents. So again, if this was not a Tuesday night meeting of the BZA, this wouldn't be an issue for me. I don't have the choice to change the class schedule. It is what it is. You know, and I don't, we have a meeting tomorrow night to have the organizational meeting to decide when we're gonna meet and all that kind of thing. But I've not had any discussion with other board members, because I didn't make this decision until right at the end of the year when it was time to figure this stuff out from on personal side of it. I did ask, I had an inkling of it in the December meeting, so prior to the December meeting, I asked staff to see if there was a possibility of that the BZA meeting could be held on a different night. It didn't seem like there was an option. I don't know, I really didn't press into it again. I just kind of generally floated the question. I would be happy to serve, you know, but I also feel it's kind of out of line to ask me personally to ask you guys to change schedules around. So be that as it may, I thank you for allowing you to serve the city. I'd love to continue. I just simply can't. If other appointments come up that I can make work with that school schedule, I certainly would love to. So, thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
I just have a question for Mr. Zetz. When they have their organizational meeting, it's up to the board on picking what night they would have, correct?
I believe it is, yes.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to reiterate, I mean, that's not a council decision, but is that something that can be considered if he still wants to serve? Maybe that's a question for Scott, Brian. I mean, could the night be changed since it's the beginning of the year?
Mr. King?
That certainly is up to the board what night they decide to meet. That's decided at their organizational meeting.
Yes, but it also would, if the council chambers was being used for something else, we'd have to take that into consideration, right,
Absolutely.
Kathy?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's some different scenarios here we have to look at.
So I guess with that being said, you made it clear in your statement that you'd reconsider if it was a different night. So
Sure.
can we I don't know exactly how to do this, but can we hold off on accepting the resignation until that's determined?
Mr. King?
Well, if the resignation is not effective till February 11th and they have their organizational meeting tomorrow night, we'll know tomorrow night when they're gonna have their meetings and when they're not gonna work with the school schedule.
But it seems that he was under the understanding that it couldn't be changed, and that's why he put it in, so is there
Doesn't sound like he explored it, though. He didn't talk to the members, so he needs to talk to the members
Board needs
first,
to
then the
decide
members
when
need to
their
make
meeting's
sure
gonna be.
Kathy's schedule or the city's schedule doesn't conflict, and then it can be changed, but it's kind of a two-part process, it sounds like, yes, sir?
If there's a night that council chambers is not being used other than other than Tuesday nights, then the board could certainly choose to hold their meetings on those nights.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'd certainly encourage the board, it's meeting, Mr. Platt, to maybe find a night that's good. I know it sounds like you're gonna be busy no matter what, 2 kids and going to school, you'll be busy anyway, but if there's a night, as Mr. Lee says, there's a night that can be moved around, and Kathy, I know, will help get that schedule so that if it can be done, then Mr. Platt can stay, that'd be good. Yeah. Well,
I'm happy to pose the question at the
Absolutely.
organizational meeting tomorrow, if we can try to find out with Kathy.
And I know with other conflicting meetings, whether they're big or small, we have other places to have meetings. I know that that one would probably need to remain here, but we have conference rooms and such, so, give it a shot.
Okay, thank you, thank you,
Yes.
appreciate the
And let us know as soon as possible, and Kathy also, and BJ, please.
I will do so, thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak tonight? Okay, seeing none. Introduction, discussion, and approval of consent agenda matters.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Barstow,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Hicken. Discussion and roll.
Carter,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda passes. On to reports. I just have one thing tonight as we get organized here. I think this is how we've normally done it. As far as the fire board, since there's a fire board meeting this week, we need to put somebody on the fire board. And Mr. Hicken has done it fantastically since he took over from the other guy that used to have it, which was me. And was that fantastic too? Okay. And so I'm going to ask for a motion later on this evening that we put Mr. Tim Hicken back on the fire board for another year. So be asking for that under motions tonight, okay? Sound good, Mr. Hicken?
I would accept that graciously.
Very good, sir. Okay, Mr. Barstow, council president, do you have anything for us tonight?
I'm shocked.
You're shocked?
It's an inside joke. Just a couple of things. First of all, thanks. I appreciate it. I really do. I'm looking forward to it. A couple of things just on organization, touching on what the mayor said on seating. I don't care what people said, but if you wanna move, let me know. I'll get with Kathy. We'll get that organized. If you have some strong, preference, that's fine. On committee preferences, we've got, I know Kathy sent me a message on the way here, we've got ag districts, so, we need to get your committee preferences in, you just email me, send an email, if you'd like to be a chairman, let me know, if you wanna be on a committee, let me know, and I'll get with Mr. Powell, we'll get that worked out, as soon as we can. If I don't hear from you, then I'll assume that, you don't care, and I'll put you where it is, so, I'd like to get that, firmed up as soon as we can. That's all I have. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
So you will be putting yourself where Mr. Hicken is and Mr. Powell where you're sitting now, at least, as far as seating?
Yes, I'm gonna switch with,
Okay.
Mr. Hicken, I'll take Mr. Hicken seat, Mr. Powell come down here where I am, but beyond that, if folks wanna move around, we've done that, sometimes we have, sometimes we haven't. I've sat all over the place, on the dais, so
Okay,
I'm not, other than these two seats right here, I'm open.
very good, sir. Thank you, Mr. Zetz.
Nothing, Mayor.
Mr. King?
Thank you, Mayor. I have several things. First of all, just Happy New Year to council. It's been a month since we've been together, so good to be back. Congratulations to Todd and Mike. Look forward to working with you guys in council leadership positions over the next year. Received, and you guys may have received this as well, but the YMCA plans to have a groundbreaking on Friday, January 18th at 1 p.m. for their expansion that they will be doing. Please attend if you're available. I plan to attend, and I believe the mayor also plans to be there. When we have our executive sessions tonight, we will go upstairs to do so. Mr. Barstow mentioned the committee meetings. Shortly after those are formed and people are appointed, we probably will be calling for a utilities committee and a street committee meeting so we can get started. Have a lot of work to do coming up. And the last thing that I want to mention is about the city's run-out claims for health insurance. I know I sent some information out to council when we finally received those right before Christmas. Jamie presented to council an explanation of what these are. And if you'll give me a minute, we'll walk through these. Jamie, please correct me if I'm wrong. When we received our run-out claims from Jefferson Health Plan, it said we owed $130,000. Looking at that, that was a combination of the OPEC Healthcare Consortium that we left middle of 2017 saying that our fair share, what they determined our fair share based on the pool and head counts was $89,511. Jefferson Health Plan, at that point, we submitted money to Jefferson Health Plan to help fund our claims for the remainder of the year. They're saying that we are due $76,493 from them. Also, they are saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, the $40,716 is what they're saying is our liability
Right.
based on the pool. So we're gonna be due essentially $36,000 from Jefferson Health Plan. With all this being said, though, everybody's holding their money until the litigation that's currently in place with the OPEC-HC is settled. No idea when that will occur. At the same time, if people are asking us for money, but they won't give us ours, and I was clear to this, I'm really in no hurry to pay our money to anybody who says we owe it to them. So if you wanna add anything to this.
Just to kind of clarify, the three time slots here, you have January through June 30th of 17. That's when we were completely on the COHCC, and it was at that point that the Ohio Insurance Services took all the participants and used, instead of Jefferson Health Plan, they took it to a different TPA, third-party administrator. The problem with it, we had, for those of you who recall, that it really changed sort of the structure of the plan. It would have negatively impacted all of our employees. And we just decided we would stay with Jefferson Health Plan as the TPA status quo, and figure out where we go from there. So that middle box is we paid premiums for 6 months to Jefferson Health Plan. And it became sort of a sub pool of people that stayed there that didn't go to the new third-party administrator, Ohio Plan. So for those 6 months, the pool of those organizations had a loss, shortfall in essence of $2.17 million. So our piece of that, based on head count, employee head count, is that $40,000. So, and the third piece is that January 18th to June 18th, that is Jefferson Health Plan. We retained to pay the run-out claims. Those are claims paid in 2018 that were dates of service in 2017. Typically, when you buy a fully insured product, it's whenever the date of service was. If you've had coverage at that time, they will pay the claim in the following year, even if it, within a certain time period after the end of the year. When we left, we were basically cut off. If it wasn't paid by December 31st, it became the responsibility of those entities to pay. And that was why we funded the money to the Jefferson Health Plan for administrative costs and fees, as well as the medical claim costs. We gave them approximately $137,000. It was about $90,000 worth of medical claims was the estimate. It ended up being about $36,000. So we were good there. But it was about $35,000 to $40,000 in processing costs and other fees. Bottom line is, as I thought, we were in the black. I knew that the claims that we would expect, the money we funded with Jefferson Health Plan, I assumed we were in the black, or they would have asked for money right away if they had been short. So I knew that. I'm a little frustrated and disappointed, and as is BJ as well, that this kind of just kept getting dragged. I think they were trying to figure out how all these moving parts, where we ended up. But I'm with BJ. I'm fully supportive of. We stand pat and we wait until all the litigation settled, because it's possible that this $89,500 that they say we owe, there's a lot of claims and counterclaims, and they may end up not. They may go after malpractice insurance or Ohio Insurance Services for repayment of stuff. So we'll see where it lands. But I tried to put it in sort of a graphic, timeline perspective to help facilitate the understanding, because you start throwing out these numbers and it gets who's paying what, and it gets kind of confusing.
Any fear of them taking legal action to get that money, or does this all have to sort out way before that would ever happen?
We will not be alone, I'm certain,
Okay,
waiting to see how this lands.
okay.
There are so many municipalities involved in all this right now that I just like we decided we would stay put, there was always the risk that we'd get sued for breach of contract by staying with Jefferson Health Plan on July 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, OPEC certainly has a bigger stake than our $89,000 based on all the other organizations that are in this. Will they come after us for that? Who knows? But at this point, I say we just stay pat and wait to see what happens.
Anything else, Mr. King?
Nothing further, Mayor, thank you.
Yes.
No, to reiterate, I wanna thank you guys, because I know I called you and I was confused about this, and thanks for putting this together. One of the things, just FYI for council, one of the entities that did not stay with OPEC HC from January to June 17 was the fire board. So I've got fire board stuff in one side of my brain and city stuff in the other, and it's incredibly confusing, so I'm grateful to, every time this gets trotted back out, I have to re-educate myself on which one it is and exactly why we're in the position that we are. But I say that to kind of reiterate, yeah, there's lots of other moving parts in the legal system to this, so.
We will be reflecting all three of these, however, in our financial statements at year end, because right now they're expressing that we owe the money or we're owed the money, so we'll show it on our financial statement until such time as we get notice otherwise.
Fair enough.
And thank you for dedicating both sides of your brain. Appreciate it.
The art side has problems with numbers.
All right, anything else for Mr. King? Yes.
I have two for you, BJ. The first one is, we had a very brief text or email exchange about the city's snow policy. I had a constituent call me and say, hey, basically they were looking for, how are you supposed to shovel your driveway so the plow doesn't plow it back under? And, they couldn't access it because our website was down. Well, our website came back up, but I went and I looked at that procedure. One of the things that caught my eye is if a mailbox is destroyed, a citizen has only 3 days to tell the city about it. That's in that policy. I don't know, I don't know when it was written. I think that's a little short for me. It's just input. I mean, I think, you know, if there's a big snow on Thursday and I'm out of town, I get back till Monday, now I've lost my chance to, talk to the city about the destruction of my mailbox. So I'd like the city to at least,
Longer period.
yeah, just, I mean, it may be a decision of council, I don't know, but that's my input, is 3 seems a little short. The other thing I was gonna say is, in your update, you gave a notice that you were beginning the conversation with the trash companies about, a new, or renewing, or.
Correct.
I would like to remind you, I don't know how council feels about this, and I don't know that it's a hill to die on, but, many cities do negotiate their fire departments' trash pickup when they tell. Last time, it was too late to do that. I realize the district is wholly by itself, but we do have 2 stations, and if the council was okay with it, and the city was okay with it, when they talk to, Waste Management, I don't think that's gonna affect them to say that they have to pick up 2 stops. But I bow to the will of council on that. Maybe everybody doesn't feel the same way, so. And wait,
Yeah, and I know when, you joined the fire board, we had that discussion, and you're right, it was too late at that point for waste management, but I have no problem making that part of the discussion with them for this go round. And like I said in my update, I plan to talk to them very soon, you know, so if we do need to go bid something out, and as we all may remember, last time we did that and had a switch, it didn't go real smoothly. That's not to say that we shouldn't bid it out, but, I wanna start those discussions very soon, so we have time if we need to, but I have no problem making that part of that discussion.
and I want to make sure the council also knew that I made that request, because theoretically, they could say, oh, it's another penny per person in the city or something, and I don't want, you know, it's not like the fire board doesn't have any money, it's just, I'm thinking, working together.
But at the same time, they're driving by those facilities,
Yeah,
so.
Already driving by.
it'll just be 1 and 3, because those are the only ones that didn't sit.
Yep.
My 2 cents.
Okay, anything else for Mr. King? Mr. Nicholson?
Thank you, Mayor. We received notice last week that our 2017 CAFR, it's always, you're just starting to the next one. So our 2017 CAFR received the GFOA's award, Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Short Reporting. That's our 9th consecutive year that we've received the award, so we're quite proud of that accomplishment. So now we'll start on the 18 one. As we speak, so just keep rolling. Other than that, we've closed the cash books for the year, and everyone's able to start submitting purchase orders and requisitions and, for 2019, so we're up and moving. It was a very smooth and quick transition, so I'm pleased that that worked out well. And that's all I have.
Anything for Jamie? Yes, sir.
I have one quick question. I stopped by your office today. We had a little discussion about the police station.
Yeah, it was a residual from a prior report.
Okay, do you wanna tell them about that? Sorry.
I sent an email out.
Oh, did you? I missed it. Okay, thanks. I'm sorry. I didn't see the email. Thanks, Jamie.
No problem.
Okay, anything else for Jamie? All right. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. Got a couple quick highlights from my update. The first thing I want to talk about is during our routine cleaning and maintenance of our wells at the water plant, one of them was found to have a hole in the casing that has the potential of letting sand and gravel get down into the well and cause damage to the well pump itself and string that's in there. So we took it out of service, which is not affecting our ability to produce water because of the other wells we have, but we have to get a steel liner put in the well casing to repair this hole. That bid came in at $12,290 with a do not exceed of $15,090. So there's a resolution for that later on this evening. We also have the new press is running very, very well. It's almost hard to explain how much that's helped us out. We used to have to run the press every day, and in a tight scenario, we could go 2 days between running the press. Now we can run for 2 weeks before we have to run the press again to catch back up with the plant. So gives the operators a lot of flexibility with the plant operations. The product coming off is a better product than what we had before, and it's a really nice thing. The only thing we have left to do is a bit of coating has to get installed into PLC. MSD came out and tried to install that coating. Something happened to his flash drive when he on his way up and wasn't able to do that. So thinks he'll be out next week to get that done, and then the press will be completely buttoned up and ours. Staffing side, we did 4 interviews for the Field Tech 1 position that was open. All 4 interviews were really well and promising. We selected one candidate to come back for a second interview. That happened last Friday on the 4th, went really well. As your analysis is done, we're just waiting on the background check to see how that comes back before we can move forward. And then we're still taking applications for the System Superintendent position until January 10th. And once we get that position filled, we will finally be back to full staff. And then last thing I want to say is there's a new edition of the social media outreach out there. If you'd like some interesting reading, it's a little summary on the city's lift stations and how they work, just a little brief description of that. Outside of that, I don't really have anything, unless there's any questions from council.
The hole in the pipe, were we losing water?
So the hole is not affecting us, it just has the potential of effect. It wasn't losing water coming out, it has the potential of letting sand and gravel come in and come on top of our equipment. So luckily that didn't happen, the ground pressure held everything in place, but just to prevent that from happening, we took it out of service.
And then the press runs on electricity?
Yes,
Okay, so now that it's not running, you're gonna see a big difference?
I would imagine so. And not only that, the cost of the polymer, we've still been running on the same 55-gallon drum of polymer since we got the new press put in. In the past, that would have been maybe 2 days worth of work in the polymer drum, but it had been changed out. So this press is really nice.
Efficient.
Really nice, yeah.
Mrs. Carter.
Chris, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this right off the top, but do you happen to know how many residents in Pataskla are on Southwest Licking Water and Sewer District?
I do not know off the top of my head.
If that's something that you could
I can definitely find that
look
out.
into, that'd be,
Yeah.
I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
I can do that.
Anything else for Chris? Thank you, sir. Mr. Alan Haynes.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things tonight. First off, I have a resolution on 2019-004 for acceptance of infrastructure for the ravines of Hazelwood Part 3. They've got all their documentation, everything is good on that. We had the as-bills, inspection was good. Minor punch list, but everything is substantially complete, looks good out there. So we recommend approval of that. As far as staffing, we are back up at full speed as of today. Daniel Swick started, so we are happy to be at full speed. Probably won't be in a plow truck for a little while, but we'll get him up to speed here hopefully pretty quick. And then finally, the Pataskla Safe Travel Plan, Phase 2, we've talked about adding that to Phase 1, and commenced with getting survey and design started. Survey has happened, design is in progress, and we'll look forward to a street committee for that project along with a couple others. And aside from that, happy to answer any questions.
Anything for Alan? Yes, sir.
Alan, Mr. Van Balen has contacted me again,
Yes.
and actually I've now received something from Mrs. Van Balen regarding the drainage issue at their house. I know you and I had talked about some remedies that could be completed, and this was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago we talked about that. It was prior to the last council meeting. And have you reached out to them and talked to them at all?
I have not. I was hoping to get a chance to get down there and look at that when Jason and I's schedules were working out in December. Did not provide much of an opportunity for that, so I have not been back down there to look at it. And I have
Okay.
not talked to them.
Could you reach out to them and let them know that, because I basically I reiterated what you and I had talked about to them and said that you'd be in getting contact with them, and not getting in contact with them. They're concerned with ice buildup and a dangerous situation. So if you could get in contact with them, I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, Mrs. Carter?
And I'm not sure if this is under a couple of umbrellas, but I have some concerns about the condition of the trail along Taylor Road. They got the asphalt laid and it looked great, and I don't know if anybody has been down that way lately, but for weeks, and this is prior to Thanksgiving even, orange barrels are still all along, culverts kind of sitting out looks like trash bags to me, but on the sticks, surrounding areas, piles of dirt all along the side. Street sign at Meadow Way in Taylor has been on the ground for 2 months. I mean, there's, I know in my own complex, a sign laying down that was advertising condos that are not there new for sale, but has been there for years, but it's just laying in our grass now. So I wanna know a timeline for the finishing touches, because it really doesn't look good. And there's been plenty of days where the weather has been decent enough to do some cleanup at the very least. There's also parts of the sidewalk on Cleveland that are underwater, that are dipped in mud and completely in water. So we need to look at that before the contractors go away to make sure there's proper drainage along that area.
So what we ran into on that project is we ran out of good weather to put the final course of asphalt in. So there's another course of asphalt that does need to go on that. And ODOT pretty much just kind of pulled off the job and said, well, the trail's closed until we finish. That's where they have left it.
Well,
We can,
Trails is
It's not closed.
meaning, I'm sorry,
they were
Trail's
supposed to have
closed.
put signs up somewhere that said that it was closed. They did not do that.
there's,
I haven't-
no.
There's 40 people out on it on Sunday.
It's amazing to see everybody out there.
Yeah, so it's not closed in. I would agree with Melissa 100%. It is dangerous in the condition it's in now for people to be using it for fall off and for other things. I agree 100%.
So ODOT wanted to close it, and they'd said that they'd put
No.
signs up. I haven't verified that, because of the liability. If we open it, there's still valve boxes sticking up and down and such. So they didn't, the contractor nor ODOT wanted the responsibility of opening it. So they told me that there were signs out there, because I did not verify that. So that was the understanding that I was under, was we were leaving it closed.
Okay, and I need to say something else real quick, and I'm not trying to chew your ass on this at all. And pardon my language, but I've had it when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's been in this condition for weeks. We should know whether or not there's closed signs on the trail. We should know if we have street signs down. There should be monitoring of the ongoing projects. That's a huge project, huge, and there's people on it all the time. And one, it makes us look really bad, because it looks bad. And there's been no communication about, you know, the timeline when it should be finished, because what I was communicating to people was, you know, it'll be done by, I was telling them the end of the year. I gave it more time than what they had actually said. I think they said, what, beginning mid-November, or something like
End
that.
of November.
So I kinda just left it to the end of the year, and now here we are, and then, you know, average citizen doesn't understand ODOT deciding to walk away, and so they've seen weeks of nice weather, and they're like, okay, so what's going on? So it frustrates me that we're not on top of just knowing what's going on. So, and I've kind of thought this along the same lines when it comes to Steve. Why wouldn't he know that there's signs laying down? Or, you know, if there's people out looking, and that's their specific role, why isn't it noticed? And it's not like Taylor Road's a side street nobody's ever on. I mean, it's packed all day long now. So if you guys could just take that extra to monitor the projects. You know, West Side always feels a little neglected when it comes to that sort of thing, and I get frustrated, and we've had plenty of conversations about intersections and all those things. But this was something that I touted to people, the trail. I've always been very, very defensive of our city and how we handle things and how we manage our snow removal and everything we do for people, because we do a lot. But I can't defend us on this one. It looks really bad. So, rant, and I appreciate your help.
Mr. King?
Yeah, certainly, Mel, if you'll give us a couple days to talk to ODOT, we'll get an update for you as far as schedule and when they'll be back out to, complete the project and let council know.
Yes, sir.
Well, it sounds like it should be closed. I mean, we should be out there tomorrow morning, putting up some sort of signage or barrier or something that says the trail is closed. It sounds like it's unsafe. I mean, I understand there's people walking on it, but what
There are portions of it that are unsafe.
what I hear from Mr. Walther and Ms. Carter is that it's unsafe. So I think we should put it up, and I agree with Mrs. Carter. Citizens don't, no, not they don't care, they care. They just don't, there's no explaining the difference between, well, it's ODOT and the city. When they see something happening in the city's doing it. So we're the face of these things, and it's pointless to talk to someone and try to explain that difference. And quite frankly, I have to agree with the folks who don't see a difference. We're responsible for what happens in there, so. If it's unsafe, it should be, in my view, it should be blocked off tomorrow. And then we'll cover that issue and then work with ODOT. We know they're responsible for getting out here and telling us, and I just got my alert on Weather Channel, it's 55 degrees, and it's January the 7th at 8 o'clock at night, so I don't see why they can't. I'm sure there's guys that are willing to work on that trail that are laid off right now.
The asphalt plants are closed, so they can't put the surface course, so they could do some grading work, but they're just gonna be redoing it. So that's why they haven't been working.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any sense doing any landscaping until the second course was poured, because you're gonna have to redo it again.
Right.
So, yes, I'll be right back to you, Mrs. Carter. Mr. Hicken?
I understand that, having put asphalt in my own business, that asphalt places are closed. I think there's also a secondary concern, just from an aesthetic point of view, that it looks like ODOT up and left with barrels and crap all over. And I think, kind of to Mr. Barstow's point, that would be if you had one hook up with ODOT on and say, hey, you guys, this looks like shit. Pardon my language, Mr. Mayor.
There's no bucket.
Pardon my language, and say, hey, guys, this looks poor. And that's what I would want to be. Not as much, I totally get and have dealt with that asphalt stuff before, so it is absolutely true they closed down, but.
It's very frustrating, as Mr. Barstow said. I know Alan feels the same way that I do, as we can't control some of these projects, or we would have had them done. That's for dang sure. So, yes, Mrs. Carter?
I know we can't control them, but we can certainly monitor them so we know what status they're in. And as it sits right now, does the barrels, cement culvert things, I'm assuming, kind of sitting along the side, it doesn't have to be dangerous. And I understand that some of that equipment is necessary for them to continue to work. I also know that right off Kennedy Road, they have a large lot where they parked all their equipment every day and put all their stuff for months. So I don't, if they're, you know, it's an asphalt issue, then there's no reason that the things that make the trail unsafe could not be removed. And I'm certainly not suggesting that we go landscape it, but there can be a way to leave it that's still usable, because I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if they put up close signs, all that does is limit their liability. It's going to be used, and we're still, could potentially have somebody hurt. And for me, that's unacceptable. I don't care about their liability. They left their crap out there. So putting up a trail closed sign is not acceptable. They need to remove the things that make it unsafe if they know there's going to be a long period of time before they're able to come back out and finish. Now, the flooding areas and stuff like that, those are things that have to be addressed in the final whatever. But the equipment and the things that are out there, it can be taken care of. And there is countless people every day, every age, people walking their pets, kids on bikes, I mean, all the time up and down it, which is outstanding, because that was exactly what we were hoping would happen. I saw a woman who lives at my end of Taylor, the south end, at the north end of the park with her dog, and I was like, Dang, that's a hike all the way down to the park. So it needs to be usable. I don't think closing it is an acceptable answer from them. And again, I know we can't control them, but we can put pressure on them and know where things are going.
Anything? Yes, sir.
Yeah, certainly we'll have an update for you by Wednesday.
I appreciate it.
Anything else for Alan? I just have one quick thing. I noticed, you know, we're going to be checking our sirens on the first Wednesday of every month to ensure that they're functioning properly. Are they all working right now?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to update council, the formal motion to place the lien on the property for the mowing is on tonight's agenda. The lien will be placed on the property with council's approval in the amount of $950. And then also our draft plan for the comprehensive plan open house will be Thursday, January 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. in council chambers. And also I have a draft copy of the plan that I received today from the consultants that I'll get out to council either later tonight or tomorrow morning. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, Mr. Powell.
I had contacted you about the Rona Homes property on Pat Haven Drive. Are they good how they are right now, or is it?
From a site distance standpoint, it's not an issue from
Okay.
driving down. We've had Steve go out and ask, hey, could you move these back a little bit? They're a little close to the street. They told us, sure, we'll do that, but it appears they have not. So I will follow up with Steve tomorrow and have him take another look on that.
Okay.
Mr. Walther.
Scott, the one thing I couldn't tell in the notice for the mowing, how big of a lot is this that we mowed, or that we had mowed? It doesn't say in any of the documents that you, at least I couldn't find it in anything that you supplied to us.
I thought I had that on.
I was looking at the auditor's site. and I can't-
Yeah, I thought it was on here. My
Yeah.
apologies. It's not a very big lot.
So that's what I'm getting to, is the $750 for mowing, is that, if I'm looking at this from the other side of the table, is that a reasonable dollar amount for mowing that?
It was pretty bad.
I understand,
Yeah.
but I mean, $750 mows a lot of acreage. And if this was a half an acre or something like that,
Mhm.
that would make that disproportional, in my opinion. Just asking the question, when we look at these, is it more than one company looking at these, or is just one company giving us a bid and we're saying, go do it, and it doesn't matter what the price is? Not that I'm insinuating we're jacking the price up, that's not what I'm saying. If it's a half acre lot, $750 seems like a lot. If it's 12 acres, $750 seems like a pretty good deal.
Right.
That's what I'm asking.
The city has a contract with Youngquist, and
Okay.
we very rarely do the mowing where we have to mow it. So this is kind of our first time doing it under my tenure. So we had the contract with Youngquist, they went out and said we could do it for $750. And based upon the condition of the property with how tall everything was, those were a couple feet tall, that it seemed like a reasonable price to do.
Do you know, did they clear anything or did they just mow it?
I think there was some junk and debris they had to haul out of
So they
there
hauled
as
some
well
stuff away.
in
Okay.
order to be able to get in and mow without messing up the
They didn't-
machinery.
They didn't give much of a detail on their invoice, so I'm just
They
asking the
did
question.
not, this was, we had to talk to them several times to get just this for the invoice, so this was kind of the
Fine.
best situation.
Thank you.
Mhm.
How long did it go unmowed?
Looks like it went on mowed for a long time.
Oh, I got a couple.
I got a question now. How long did it go unmowed?
Oh,
Roughly?
a long, long time, pretty much all summer.
Okay.
So the whole growing season, it was
The
unmowed. And
habitat.
yeah, and as I mentioned, the gentleman who lived there passed away. There were no heirs that inherited the property. It's currently delinquent on its taxes. We did try probate court. We were able to talk to his daughter, but she didn't seem to know much about anything in terms of transferring it or anything like that. So we're pursuing through the land bank. Because they're delinquent on taxes, they can take it over, and then it would go to the city, then sheriff's sale, for someone to take it over, because we're gonna be right back in the same situation next year.
Mr. Barstow, did you have a little one?
No, I just wanted to know, was, apparently there wasn't any notice to be able to provide it to because the land owner was deceased.
What we did, because the way the code is written, that if you know the property owner's address, you mail it to him. We know the address, we knew he had passed away. We also posted it on the property, so we did both. So it's vacant except for like an old garage that's kind of falling down, so we followed notification procedures even though we knew it wasn't gonna get mowed, we still wanted to follow the code just because that's how it's written.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
First question's about the comprehensive plan meeting.
Mm-hmm.
What is council's involvement in that? Is
This
there a
would-
rollout for everybody? Is it a council meeting? Is it a quorum meeting?
It- It'll be public open house, so they'll have a brief presentation, then folks can come and provide their comments, so it's open to the community at large.
So similar to the other open house,
Correct,
but this one is with the plan.
correct.
Okay, that's good. The other thing was, I appreciate you letting us know that there is a development in the pipeline that we're gonna be probably discussing and approving or not approving. The one I'm talking specifically about the Lawn Refugee Road.
Hunter's Crossing.
Yep, Hunter's Crossing. When do you think that will come before us?
I think we have the ordinance ready, or soon to be ready, and it should have a public hearing on February, I believe it's the 19th. Because we have to let it sit 30 days, that was the soonest we could get it on the agenda for a public hearing and make sure we had notice out and everything.
'Cause I have some real questions about that. I'm sure that I'll ask them at the hearing,
Mhm.
or I'll voice them at the hearing, but I wasn't sure if I had seen when that date was, any information you have been giving us. So that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, and I apologize, when the council report goes out, we had planning commission that night, so there was no way to get my council report in and still have that. So it was approved with conditions, so we'll have the public hearing on February 19th. And as part of that, with the public hearing information, you get a copy of the staff report and all the materials that were presented at the planning commission meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, and I just wanna piggyback on that. With that one, there will be the public hearing. It is a rezoning, so there'll be three readings of an ordinance at council. Ultimately, it is a council decision for this development.
That's correct.
Before we get too far off the track, you mentioned the comprehensive meeting. Mr. Zetz, any special instructions? I mean, I know I'm gonna be here. I would assume other council members are gonna be here. Any special instructions or same as normal? Kinda not get together and
Don't
agglomerate?
talk a lot, just do some fact finding, listen,
Okay.
don't discuss and deliberate the public business amongst the quorum of you.
Okay.
You don't standard stuff.
Okay, very good. Mr. Walther?
Yeah, I just to piggyback on the hunters, the crossing out there on Refugee. The information that you had sent out, BJ, I noticed that the plan essentially was dated August 2018. It did not meet the density. It still had the previous density on it, the 227 units, I believe.
I think that was the
But
staff
223?
report that I sent.
I believe so.
Yeah.
We'll be able to get the updated information, correct?
Yeah, there was 223 in the staff report. There was a table that had the various.
I know, I'm saying that the actual plan that was sent out, the development plan, showed 227, and it showed the August 2018 plan. So
Okay,
I'm
we'll
assuming
look into
there's an
that.
updated plan that wasn't included in that.
Anything else for Scott? Thank you, sir. Lanier?
Thank you, Mayor. First thing, we have a resolution, or the Parks Department has a resolution on tonight to name currently Leeds Park, Volunteer Park. That's gonna be an exciting time for us as the PRA will be handing that over midsummer in July, so recommending approval of that. Second thing, our staffing, we have our parks and maintenance position up, so we'll be taking the applications until January 25th. So that's exciting also for us. Thirdly, this coming Saturday, we have our Veggie Series. We've partnered with Licking County OSU Extension. This Saturday, Pataska United Methodist Church will have our first class. I hope to see some of you there. If you're into gardening at all, if you're not, oh well, I'll be there. Last thing.
Oh, well.
Last thing on the list, it was brought to my attention, I did not attach the proposal for the OHM builder set plans. I apologize, I'll get that to you guys tomorrow. But essentially, we are trying to figure out which route to go, whether we're gonna go with OHM for the builder sets, because they're charging us 10 grand for the builder sets themselves. I did not put that in, I didn't budget for that 10 grand. I guess that's a slap on the wrist for me, but we're hoping that we can get something on board with Hall and also OHM to figure out if we can work something out.
Mr. King?
I will say what the builder said, I wouldn't necessarily say a slap on the wrist for you. When we got the grant, you know, certainly we need to have stuff that can be put together as a package to bid out. So that's what we're looking at, is who can give us the best price to put together that package that we can come to council with, seek authorization to bid it out and bid it out. You know, that stuff can be paid out of the grant funds. Our goal is to maximize the grant funds with actual hard improvements being made in Liberty Park, so the best price we can get, we're gonna go with.
Anything else, Lanier?
And that's all I have for you guys today.
Well, I just wanna say the flag poles at Freedom Park look fabulous. That's really starting to look like a real park, so kudos there. And, there's something else. Oh, and I wanna thank you for meeting with me and the young lady from United Way. We're all working together to add another function at the fireworks this year. There'll be a 5K run in the morning, and we'll be working with Chief Brooks and CERTS that's helped us with warm bodies as we have a 5K that's gonna run through the neighborhood, start and end at the park. So
Red, white, and united.
yep. So thanks for helping me out with that.
You're welcome.
Want to add that to the festivities for the 4th of July, so that'll be great. Anything for Lanier?
I do have a question.
Yes.
The Eagle Scout projects, have they started? The ones that, we had the two gentlemen that had come
The
in?
Gaga Pit,
Yeah.
that, he will not start that until we get our builder set plans, because a portion of that master plan or the project itself, they're gonna plat out an area where he can actually construct his Gaga.
Okay, and that works within his timeline?
Yes, he doesn't turn 18 until October.
Good.
So when he approached us in a way to where we led to believe that he was turning 18
Like quick?
immediately. But I met with him in September and was fishing it out of him, and he said, I don't turn 18 for another year. And I said, well, what was the rush right now? So
Was there another young man that had another plan that he wanted to put something over there also?
Do we have another plan?
Was it just
Wasn't
one?
it the
it was the bridge we completed. We had the Veterans Green, which is almost complete. It's not 100% done yet. He's gonna come back in the spring and do the final touches.
Good.
And then there was the Gaga Pit.
great, I'm glad that worked out.
Veterans, what was it, Veterans Green?
The flag.
Oh,
what
at
was that?
Freedom Park.
The new Veterans Green at Freedom Park. We also had the Eagle Scout come in and present to us the project he's doing.
Logan, Ohio?
Oh,
Logan,
that's,
Ohio.
yes, the locks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah, that's
locks,
already
yeah.
been done and
Yeah.
finished and, yeah, it wasn't even around here, so. He did get his Eagle Scout, everything went through and his mom reported to me, Mrs. Hampshire reported to me that, he got his Eagle and the project was done and completed and everything turned out really good. Cut and dry.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Anything else for Lanier? Thank you, sir. Chief Brooks,
I have nothing tonight, Mayor, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
anything for the chief? All right. I know there won't be any committee chair reports, but you may want to throw out there when you're gonna have your first meeting, so I'll give you that right now if you need to.
We don't have.
Well, we need to reserve committees.
Have to have
Yeah,
it,
that's
okay,
one.
everybody has to read it. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Unfinished business, ordinance 2018-4327 for a third reading.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hicken,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Barstow. Discussion, or Kathy, go ahead, third reading, please.
Ordinance 2018-4327, this is the third reading, an ordinance to rezone the property located at 997 North Oxford Drive, parcel number 064-307-680-00.000, totaling 3.91 plus or minus acres in the city of Pataskla from the Planned Development District, PDD, zoning classification to the Professional Research Office, Pro, zoning classification.
Okay, any discussion? All right, somebody wanna make a motion to,
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance 2018-4327.
got a motion to adopt?
Second.
Seconded by, first one, Mr. Hicken, and seconded by Mr. Barstow. Discussion and roll.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes?
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
All right, ordinance passes. Ordinance 2018-4330 for a second reading.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Barstow,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Powell. Kathy, when you're ready.
ordinance 2018-4330, second reading, an ordinance amending, renaming, and replacing section 13.03 of the City of Pataskla Employee Handbook and Policy Manual establishing the city's credit card policy and declaring an emergency.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt ordinance 2018-4330.
Hold on a second.
I
Yes, ma'am.
believe we have to declare the emergency.
No, a motion to declare it an emergency. Okay, I need a motion to declare an emergency.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move that we declare an emergency for ordinance 2018-4330.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Barstow,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Powell. Discussion? And Kathy, if you have the roll on declaring an emergency.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes?
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Back to you, Mr. Hicken.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance 2018-4330.
I have a motion to adopt. Need a second?
Second.
Seconded by, is that Mrs. Carter?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Discussion and roll.
Hicken,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Okay, ordinance passes. New business, resolutions. Resolution 2019-001, a resolution authorizing and directing the city administrator to execute a contract with Jameson Well Drilling, Inc. for a groundwater well casing liner installation.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Barstow,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Powell. Discussion? And roll.
Lee,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Picken,
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2019-002, a resolution naming the park which is located near the Pataskala Lead Center on Adams Lane Volunteer Park.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Walther,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Lee. Discussion and roll.
Carter,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Picken,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2019-003, a resolution authorizing the sale by internet auction during calendar year 2019 of city-owned personal property which is not needed for public use or which is obsolete or unfit for the use for which it was acquired.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Barstow, seconded by Mr. Hicken. Discussion? And roll.
Walther,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Picken,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2019-004, resolution to accept and confirm infrastructure improvements for the ravines at Hazelwood, Part 3, development for public maintenance and operation by the city of Pataskala.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Higgins, seconded by Mr. Barstow.
Mr. Mayor, quick question.
Yes.
Alan, just a quick question on that. Does this section have any ponds to it? Do you know offhand?
Yes.
Okay, and with those ponds, are you very comfortable with how those have been constructed, inspected, you know, for turnover, for maintenance? Is this something that the association will maintain, or I know we've had many problems with ponds in Pataskala, so just making sure this one is,
All of the new developments, we drafted a stormwater facilities maintenance agreement that the developer must sign prior to acceptance. That has been signed.
okay, so that gives us the right to go in and do whatever we need to do, or
Or to force them to have.
force them to have to do it. Okay, thank you.
Are these retentions or detentions in this particular subdivision? They will be holding water?
Let me think for a second.
Okay,
I believe they are both retention.
okay,
We'll be holding water.
all right, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, roll please.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Picken,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes. On the motions, motion approving report of administrator and instructing clerk of council to notify county auditor of charges associated with cutting of noxious weeds for the purposes of assessment against real estate.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Barstow and seconded by Mr. Hicken. Any discussion on the motion? Kathy, when you're ready.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Picken,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Motion passes. Any other motions? I asked for a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
move that council confirm the appointment of Mr. Hicken as our representative to the West Licking Fire Board.
Got a motion from
Second.
Mr. Hicken, seconded by Mr. Walther. Discussion and roll.
Hayes,
Yes.
Picken,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Motion is approved. Additional citizens' comments. Anybody wish to speak tonight? Okay, seeing none. We're gonna, here's a quick update. Yeah, well, I'm just gonna let everybody know, because we're gonna be going up to executive session. There's 2 executive sessions, and we're going to break them down. When you hear them read tonight, there'll be a key word in there telling you which one it is, and because there's some folks that need to express or excuse themselves, or recuse themselves. So go ahead, Mr. Barstow, if you would.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I may move into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G3 for a conference with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action. B.J. King, City Administrator, and Brian Zetz, Law Director, are to be invited into the executive session. This executive session will discuss the Fan and Deagle litigation.
Okay, got a motion to go into executive session, seconded by Mr. Walther. Discussion? And
Hicken,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We'll be going upstairs for both of these now, so, and Mr. Barstow, you got something else for me?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that we move into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G3 for a conference with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action. B.J. King, City Administrator, and Brian Zetz, Law Director, are to be invited into this executive session, which will discuss the current litigation with the BZA and the Licking Heights Local School District.
Okay, discussion? And roll.
We need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Seconded by Mr. Hicken. Roll, please.
Lee,
Yes.
Carter,
On the advice of the city law director, I am recusing myself from that executive session.
Walter,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hicken.
Yes.
Okay, executive session at 8:06. Everybody upstairs, please. Need a motion to come out of executive session?
We move we come out of executive session.
Got a motion? Need a
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Powell. Discussion and roll.
Carter,
Do I vote on that?
well, half of it.
I'll say yes.
For the first part. Walter,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Okay, out of executive session at 8:43, and just for the record, what time did Mrs. Carter come back into council chambers, Kathy?
8:16.
8:18. Well, yeah, well,
Eight
Took you 2 minutes to get
18.
down.
All right, very good.
the janitor lady stopped me.
All right, out of executive session. Any other motions, comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir,
I
Mr.
move-
Barsky.
I move that we direct the law director to move forward with the BZA appeal that's currently pending over in Common Pleas Court.
Got a motion by Mr. Barstow,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Walther. Discussion?
Other than Ms. Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no discussion.
Ms. Carter will not be discussing this.
No, I will not be.
Okay. Anybody wish to?
that was moved by, I was writing.
I'm sorry?
Who made the motion and who
I
seconded?
move.
I move.
Todd and then Mr. Walther. Okay, open to discussion. Mr. Walther?
You know, based on just the support of the BZA, I think it's right to move forward with the appeal, to support the BZA and their actions, the people that we've appointed to the BZA, and let them, let their decision be tried in under appeal.
Okay. Any other discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. Barstow.
I completely agree with Mr. Walter, absolutely.
Additionally, can I add one more thing?
Sure.
Additionally, you know, with Mr. Platt's discussions this evening regarding the racism claims, I am hopeful, and I think that at least the law director should look into whatever avenues he can to remedy that, those claims that have been made, the racist claims.
Okay, any other discussion?
Again, I agree with Mr. Walter, I mean, I thought that was just absolutely outrageous and offensive, and I agree with what Mr. Platt had said, it's offensive to the BZA, to council, and to the folks here in the city. I just thought that it was just an outrageous thing for a local government to say. Just
Mr. Lee?
I agree with Andy and Todd. I also think Mr. Platt said it well. But I think that there's a little bit more to it. If you read that, is those claims were made against a representative of the city, being Mr. Fox, let's just call it what it is, who's appointed to the Water and Sewer Board by City Council. So I think that if you're gonna claim things like that, especially against someone who represents the city, then prove it. And no one has been able to do that. If what they're going off of, what we read is their proof, then it's shameful. It's ridiculous. And on top of that, to put us all in that, to put us all in that basket, because Mr. Fox may have influenced the BZA, and the BZA works under city council, we're all that, we're all those things, which is the way it read. It's appalling, it's ridiculous.
Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
I'm in favor of, having the law director continue the action, because I think that is the only avenue that the charter spells out. And so indeed, I think that the schools are moving forward with the avenue that was presented to them, and we should, do the same on our end. So,
Any other-
I'm okay with that. We obviously tried hard not to get there, and I'm saddened that we did not, but
Very good. Any other discussion? All right, Kathy, roll call, please.
Walther,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hicken,
yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Motion passes. Anything else tonight before we go round and round? All right, we'll start with Suzanne.
Starting to plan this year's story walk, and the ideas are rolling, the kids are excited for a new story walk. We're gonna include kids from Etna Elementary and Pataskala Elementary this year. And I just appreciate all the, like, we had a pretty good meeting with the information that was given by all the folks that were here. It was very informative and well done, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Nothing else.
Mrs. Carter?
I just would say I'm excited to move into a new year. I wanna kind of make a blanket statement based on the past year as a whole that we've had. We had a rough year, a lot of work, and a lot of, what for me feels like, a breakdown in 5 years of work on council, in relationships across the board with, partners, city partners. And that's super disappointing, more than disappointing. So I guess, as we move forward, I just would like for us all to keep in mind, regardless of what entity we're dealing with, that whether it's a utility, we're not dealing with a board or representatives from a board. We're talking about 16,000 citizens and residents who pay taxes and are impacted by our relationships and how we deal with those. When we're talking about school districts, whichever one you're talking about, we're not talking about boards and administrators, we're talking about students and kids who, by no choice of their own, are impacted by whatever the adults in their worlds do. So, and it's difficult at times to put aside our own personal feelings, especially when certain things go on, but I would just really like us to keep the perspective where it should be. And remember that there is nothing in this city that is not our job. Everything is our job. We chose to be here, we asked to be here, and so if it impacts a resident anywhere in the city, it's my job, if they ask me to help them, or if it comes before us. So that is the, point of view I am trying to keep as we move forward. That's all I have.
Mr. Barstow?
Well, again, I want to thank folks for selecting me as president. It's really cool, and I've had a lot of great examples. Dan Hayes, Tim, Mel, who came before, who did a really great job, and so I'm grateful for that. Hope to do at least as half as good a job as those folks did. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Hicken?
Well, I would like to thank everybody that voted for me the last 2 years as president of council. The prior presidents, as Todd just mentioned, Dan and Mel, the vice presidents that have served underneath me. I look forward to maintaining still a busy role on council, but I offer my congratulations to the new leadership. There have been ups and downs, and I look forward to whatever is next. So, I've been pretty happy with the last 2 years, and I also should say a very special thank you to Kathy Hoskinson, who really made it go smoothly, and Mr. King, who was excellent to work with. And all of you. That's all for me.
And I'll just say that, this council that we have right now, and I've said this to most everybody, I enjoyed, every time we had a president or a vice president, or somebody would say, hey, would I make a good president? Everybody on here would be great to work with in any position. And I don't know if that could always have been said. Of course, sitting up here is a lot different, or being on council versus being the mayor, but we have a great crew, and I'd be honored to work with any of you as far as that for president and vice president, and already have, obviously, but so I think we have a great group, so that's all I want to say tonight. Mr. Walther?
Yep, I'm sorry, Mr. Hayes isn't here, Haynes, I should say, Mr. Haynes, isn't here to hear this. Projects like the Taylor Road sidewalk and bike path are invaluable to the city. I was absolutely thrilled driving down. Matter of fact, I even turned around to get a count of how many people were on the path and sidewalk Sunday. It was amazing. Those kind of projects we should identify and continue to support and make sure that we're doing for our citizens. Wherever they may be, west, east, south, wherever, it doesn't matter. We should make sure that they're done because they're invaluable. One suggestion that I would make for the path, seeing the number of dogs that I saw on the path, it may be worthwhile looking into the feces bags and trash area. I know of one group that would be willing to donate as many as the city would want. So,
Can you put me in touch?
yeah. So it's important,
With the
and
bags, right?
just for the overall goodwill of the people, let's make sure they clean up after their dogs. Because it is a great path, and it really is well received by the people that are using it. So thank you very much for your guys' work, and I know Alan's probably home thinking, man, I've got just another.
It's all good.
But it's important, and the safety of it is important. So I echo Mel's comments about just making sure we put our best foot forward on these important projects. Thanks.
Yeah, it was great over the weekend, because the weather was so nice. So, of course, on the internet, people were like, man, I wish we had somewhere, a trail around here. Well, we do have a trail now. And Lanier jumped on, and myself, and that's what people want.
It's fantastic.
And you have good weather like this, and it's frickin' January, and everybody wants to be out. Of course, obviously it has to be safe, and I know, as I said to Alan, he's gotta be frustrated when we can't control these projects. Mink Road and the intersection at Broad and Mink and Taylor jump out at me as either the weather or the contractors or something, things didn't go quite as planned, and of course, I have confidence in BJ and Alan and all the directors that we've been handling that. Of course, they're large-scale projects, but still, I think we would have had more communication. Kudos to you, and then the projects would have either been stopped, knowing that the weather was going to be bad, and then usable until they could have been reassumed and fixed the right way. So, because I do feel that they just, well, it's just too cold, or it's the end of the season, and they just walked away from several projects around here. So it's very frustrating. But Mike Powell?
Just want to say thanks for selecting me as vice president. I really appreciate it. Look forward to the rest of 2019 and all the cool things coming up, the police station opening and getting moving on Oak Meadow. So it'll be a good year for us.
Mr. Lee?
A couple things, yeah. Congrats, Mike, Todd. Well done. I think last year was a good year for us. I do think, like Mel said, there's room for improvement. And one thing I certainly hope that we can find a way to repair some of the relationships that were damaged. As upset as both sides are, there's a way. Obviously, as you could tell by our comments, that the last part of it stings. Especially when you don't believe it. Really stings, and it doesn't help. But I still believe there's hope, and I think that hopefully we can all buckle up and buckle down and move on, and hopefully resolve this. So, second thing is I'm gonna be a broken record this year on this, and I've already told a couple of them, but I'm really looking forward to the police chief and the assistant police chief's report on staffing and pay. It's near and dear to my heart, and I have a good relationship with a lot of these guys. See them around town, owning a local business. I guess I'll just put it bluntly: our cops are underpaid, and we need more of them. And I think that the study will show that loud and clear. And but I also realize that the city only has so much money to work with, so I think we need to get creative as council and figure out how we can do those things fiscally, in a fiscally responsible way. But it just really, you get to know these cops, and these guys are out doing their thing, and next thing you know, it's like, man, I just got to know him. I see him over in Reynoldsburg, or I see him down at the SO. Why should we be that? We've got the building now, so let's keep them. That's my opinion, of course. So I'll be a broken record. I'm sure I'll get some. Here goes Tommy again. He's on that. But I'm just giving you fair warning. That's something that's coming from me. And that's a big deal. So, motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Second?
Did I get on a roll?
You did a little bit. You could have done that.
Motion to adjourn, and seconded by Mr. Walther. Discussion and.
I'll remember that. I know.
You wanna roll?
He said discussion and all.
Powell?
Yes.
Barstow?
Yes.
Hayes? Yes. Hicken?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Carter? Yes. Walter?
Yes.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's one for a long time that we get to watch.
Oh, okay. If I don't do it now, I'll forget. All right. Okay. Okay.
Good. Good. I got